Let's take you to the nation's capital, where the Nigerian Senate demanded for the report of the forensic audit conducted by the executive on the accounts of the Niger Delta Development Commission. This request followed the confirmation of Lauretta Onochie as chairman of the new NDDC board alongside 12 others and members. The Senate, however, rejected the nomination of two of Mr. President's nominees from Edo and Imo State for failing to appear before its committee for screening. National Assembly correspondent Jesu Adeoye reports.
On the screening of the presidential nominees.
The Senate Committee on Niger Delta returns to the Senate chambers with its report to advise the upper legislative chamber on Mr. President's request to constitute a new board of the Niger Delta Development Commission.
The committee wishes to recommend for confirmation the nomination of the following as chairman and members of the governing board of Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. Lauretta Ifeanyi Onochie as chairman, governing board of NDDC. Accordingly, the committee stepped down the screening of the two nominees for reason of non-appearance before the committee.
Some lawmakers were opposed to the committee's recommendations and decision to confirm Lauretta Onochie as chairman of the board. They insist she does not come from an oil-producing community, and petitions were already tendered before the committee in this regard.
What the law says is that the nominees should come from oil-producing areas. But that anyhow you interpret it, it cannot go outside community, it cannot go outside a local government, and it should, in my view, not go outside the senatorial district.
The truth argument about host community and oil producing community have not been properly defined. It has not. It's going to create more problem, even the PIA. That problem will be there.
The Senate adopted the committee's recommendations and proceeded to confirm 13 of Mr. President's nominees.
The Senate confirmed the nomination of Lauretta Ifeanyi Onochie from Delta State, representing South-South, as chairman in the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Lauretta Ifeanyi Onochie from Delta State, representing South-South, is hereby confirmed as chairman in the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC.
The Nigerian Senate further requested for copies of the forensic audit conducted by the executive on the accounts of the NDDC and directed that it be submitted to both chambers of the National Assembly. Jesu Adeoye, TVC News, Abuja.
Welcome back. Now let me come to you, Justice. Why do you think the report was not made public until now?
I'm shocked. Because the road to the report what actually caused a serious furor. Recall in 2019 that the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, who was the substantive minister then for Niger Delta, was really fought at the time when he said that the reason why he was being fought at the time was because they ordered a forensic report into the activities and accounts and spendings of the NDDC when the director general at the time was laid off or fired or got him to resign or whatever the case was. It became a very sensational national matter. And at this stage, I'm very shocked that the executive didn't even publish it. Maybe again, it is what it is. It's a game of horse trading. A lot of people have been implicated. A lot of things may become scuttled. A lot of allegations were laid at the time. And it looked to us as though the executive had the political will to ensure that this came out. But again, now that it didn't come out, or the executive didn't, by its own volition, release it, the Senate, they don't just have to request or ask for it. They have the constitutional power to ensure that wherever it is, in fact, they have the priority or powers to do the investigation. But the challenge we have with our own legislature is, you remember the Lukman, Farouk Lawan situation. I remember the other DG of NSC situation where we don't see the political will. They just say they are doing investigations pursuant to Section 88 and 89 of our Constitution, and at the end of the day, they are collecting dollars in their cap, or they are demanding for DGs to bring. Otherwise, till now, they have the power, front row seat, to actually request that such audits be made by them, not even by the accounting firms. Now that it has been made by whatever accounting firm or organization, the Senate has the constitutional power to ask for it from anybody that is in this country, whether citizen or not. But the challenge they might have is, if it is with the president or with a governor or deputy president or deputy governor, they may not want to release it. But again, the Senate or the National Assembly has the power to actually hold in contempt anybody that refuses. But again, if they try to hold the president in contempt, we remember the provisions of Section 308 of the Constitution, which gives them immunity.
All right, the Senate confirmed the appointment of 13 out of the 15 presidential nominees of the board sent by President Muhammadu Buhari. Let me share your thoughts on this. For me, the Lauretta situation, of course, she appears to me like a cat with many lives. She is nominated for this and fought back, especially for the INEC situation. It was for good reasons. I didn't see that nomination in good light, especially because it is not necessary that a person be said to be biased. The fact of, okay, likelihood of bias is there. A front runner or an APC, card-carrying APC member ought not to have been nominated. But that aside, in this situation, too, there's a major issue that people may not be that aware of, and it is the situation that there is a court order, there's a court judgment presently saying that the issue that Senator Seriake Dixon raised as to, is she from an oil-producing area, is she from an oil-producing state, that matter is still in court. And the court specifically said that this confirmation should not go on. So even this confirmation that was done in violation of a clear court order. And for me, again, that's a breach of the rule of law. And at no point will I be a supporter of any breach of the rule of law. So I think her confirmation is wrong. As for the others that were confirmed, if there is nothing against them, I don't see any reason why they ought not to have been confirmed. But let me just raise politically, one of the two people that wasn't confirmed, that didn't come for this plum job, if we recall, was actually confirmed to be the chairman of the NDDC board before now, but it wasn't inaugurated. So because it wasn't inaugurated, technically, he lost that confirmation and nomination earlier. So maybe that's the reason why he didn't show up for this. Maybe he's not that happy. All right. Why you think Mrs. Onochie is not supposed to be confirmed? How do you rate her as the chairman of the board, and how enormous is the task ahead of her?
The task is super duper enormous, because, of course, there are 9 oil-producing states, and she has to coordinate projects all across. And aside the fact that there are 9 oil-producing states, we must know the nature of the NDDC as a corporation. It is the cesspool of corruption. It is where every politician gets to be compensated or paid. And because of that, if she wants to be truthful and honest, she is going to really be fought. So there's nobody that wants to do a good job in NDDC that will not put their feet firmly on the ground. So her job is well cut out for her, but it is seriously and what I would call an atlas task, an uphill task.
All right. Thank you very much so far for your contribution. Let's now go to our last story for tonight. A federal high court sitting in Abuja on Friday dismissed the suit filed by former Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Nwajoba, seeking to void the nomination of Bola Tinubu as the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress (APC) in next year's election. In the suit, which had Bola Tinubu, the APC, and the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) as co-defendants, Nwajoba had urged INEC to disqualify the former Lagos State governor and recognize him as the APC candidate. However, Justice Zainab Abubakar, in a judgment on Friday, held that her court lacked the jurisdiction to entertain the suit, which was such state barred, having been filed outside the 14 days allowed under the Constitution. Wow. So how would you describe this for Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the party?
Okay, of course, as far as I'm concerned, it's a cheap victory. Cheap victory without almost any effort, without raising a finger. And I say that especially because it wasn't even the substantive matter wasn't gone into. But that aside, one thing that really pains me in this country is the fact that there is no spirit of sportsmanship at all when election matters, so long as election matters are concerned. We have a situation where people don't think it necessary again to go and contest popular elections, whether at primary level or at a post-primary level. Everybody just feels that once they can hire a good lawyer, in a manner of speaking, that can outfox the other lawyer, that they will be able to get whatever it is that the other person got by contesting popular elections. And that is the situation that we find ourselves in this case. How can a person who polled just one vote want as one of the prayers for him to be substituted as the candidate of the party? There's no attempt to even, there's nothing that says that, okay, you are the people's choice. That shouldn't be. So long as I'm concerned, and I've always said this, the judiciary should not be used. So as much as possible, the judicial interference in electoral matters, in who the people want, should be reduced to the barest minimum possible. We have to look for another way to ensure that if a person didn't meet the conditions for qualification, or is disqualified by the provisions of the Constitution or the Electoral Act or any other act that gives them qualification, we have to look for a way to still ensure that those people either fulfill those conditions, or we look for another way to ensure that it is never ever going to happen that a person who didn't get a popular vote will get a political position. Because again, we must always remember that anybody who arrives at an office is going to be answerable to the people. So if it is a person that the people does not want from the first instance, there is going to be chaos in society. And again, if there is chaos in society, the laws are off. The Constitution is off, because it is the people that determine which laws eventually is going to be followed. So because of that, no.
All right. Thank you very much. We are fortunately out of time. We would have had other questions to ask you, but we're out of time. Thank you for your contribution so far.
It's my pleasure.
All right.